episode 867. The NASSP 2025 Principal of the Year, Dr. Tracy Anderson Swilley from South Carolina. She is a remarkable woman who is also featured in my new TV and radio and YouTube show, Cool Cat Teacher Talk, where she talks about what she does at her school for school safety. You can check out that show at coolcatteacher.com/talk safety. In the meantime, let's hear from Dr. Tracy Anderson Swilley about how she has changed the culture at her school and partners with teachers.
This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with your host, Vicki Davis.
I'm so excited today to have Dr. Tracy Anderson Swilley with us. She is the 2025 National Principal of the Year by NASSP. She's 2024 South Carolina Association of School Secondary Principals of the Year. And Tracy, you are the principal at Fairfield Central High School, and it's pretty astounding some of the things you've done, in particular your graduation rate. But could you talk about some of the accomplishments that you and your team have accomplished since you've been the leader there?
I am so excited to share a little bit about the work that my staff and my students, my community have done here at Fairfield Central High School. One of the first things when I arrived was that I was the fourth principal that senior class had in their time here. So if that makes any sense, every year they had a different principal.
Wow.
So my first commitment was to the students of longevity. I was committed to being here to see a freshman class all the way through a senior class, through graduation. So a commitment to the students, a commitment to the staff. And here we are, year 12. So
wow. Congratulations for sticking it out.
Thank you. The first thing, though, was tackling the culture and climate. So together we had to tackle the culture and climate of the school, because just as a plant, without the right environment, no one can grow. So staff couldn't grow, students couldn't grow. So we had to do the environment of making our kids know, having a growth mindset, believing in themselves, believing in their abilities, exposing them to things outside of Winsboro, South Carolina. It's a very rural entity. And so making certain they understand that the world is still theirs for the taking. And so making certain they didn't limit their mindsets and their thought processes and their career outcomes based on their zip codes. Right. That does not define them. And so making certain they understood that. Putting some systems in place of accountability, whether it was accountability for documentation, accountability for standards, teaching the standards, holding students accountable, holding teachers accountable to the preparations that have taken place, giving some good, solid professional development. And then the biggest thing as a leader is supporting your teachers and get out of their way. And so teachers that know what they need to do, you provide them with the support, the tools, the equipment, the resources, and then you get out of the way and let them execute. I am here to support. I'm a collaborative leader by nature. So I love getting in there with my team. Actually, we're meeting this week to work on a project. So I'm always going to bring the minds around the table and not think I have a big S on my chest and that I'm supposed to do it all, because if you don't have that buy-in from others, it will not happen. So providing them with what they needed to be successful, having the right environment on the campus, and then, having them create the right environment in the classrooms, and then get out of the way and let them do what they've been trying to do and support and be their cheerleader along the way. And so that's kind of what we have done with our school, put systems in place, expose our kid, eliminate the boundaries and obstacles that are in their way. When they walk through that door, I tell them all their last name becomes Swilley until they go back home to their parents. And so wrapping the arms around them and giving them what you would want your kid to get. And and so that's what we have done here.
So when you were recognized by your local city council, what they said about you is that you've done an astounding job relating to parents in the community. What has been your secret there?
I'm very transparent. I'm very open. I'll do live meetings. I'll do, whether it be on social media, whether it be a Zoom session. My parents have my cell phone number. I'm from a very small community, very similar to Winsboro, in a small town of Eastover, South Carolina. So I'm very familiar with the culture. I'm very familiar with going to churches. I'm very familiar with, everybody knows everybody because that's kind of how I grew up. So it felt like home to me. So I wasn't afraid or intimidated to go out in the community and be a part of the community. And I think that's why it's been received well, is because, I can assimilate and use the educational jargon, but then I can also speak in regular layman's terms. And then I can also put the hat on of a parent and say, I am a parent. My kids are in these buildings. I believe so much so in what we're doing here that I'm going to put my personal students and my personal children in the building, because they could have gone, we were zoned for another district because I live in Columbia, and they could have gone to a neighboring district, but they came to the district with me because I believe in what we're doing here. And I think once you're relatable, once you meet people where they are, then they will receive you. And that's been, what I have experienced here in Fairfield County.
Well, you can feel the pride when you go on your school website, and obviously your hashtag is protect the brand.
Yes.
But I liked that you not only had sports, but you had things recognizing the newspaper staff. And so often it's all about sports, but it's not all about sports because every child has a different place to belong. And one thing that's in all the writing that you've done is just that every child needs a way to thrive.
Yes, our theme this year is Protect the Brain, and it was actually coined by a Fairfield Central alum who was also a staff member. He passed away January 1st of this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he coined that phrase because we are here to protect the brain in athletics, academics, and the arts. So it's not just a one standout in athletics. And so with that, I believe every child has some outlet or something they enjoy doing that we need to tap into so that every child can have that experience that brings them joy, brings them success, while they maybe push through some of the things that are not so fun that they have to do. And so I believe in that so much so that we have an activity period here. And tomorrow will be our first club day of the year. And so it is where my staff is able to offer club options to the students based on a hobby that they enjoy, but things that our kids have requested. So we have the full gamut, whether it be a chess club, pickleball, art, anime. We have crocheting, drawing by design with a diamond drawing. We have a little bit of everything that will happen tomorrow. And so students get an opportunity to pick that. I also believe in having them the opportunity to do the arts. So we've even added arts to our after-school tutoring program to be able to afford students the opportunity to learn choral music, to participate in the band, to participate in orchestra, the art, visual arts, theater, dance. We have the full gamut of offerings for our students. And then in the academic challenge team is very big here. We have won the region in academics, and so we celebrate them just as we do athletic. We had our first academic pep rally last year.
Wow.
Because it's no hierarchy. We understand that all of these things make students thrive. And so we want to celebrate the kid who pushed the buzzer in the quiz bowl, just as we would celebrate the kid scoring a touchdown. Because both of them will give them opportunities in life, success. Athletics can give you the opportunity to keep going, but athletics without academics no longer is the case. And so making certain our kids understand being well-rounded. Another big part that we push is community service. So making certain that our kids understand the importance of uplifting their community and giving back in a positive manner. And so I just believe in offering something for everybody, because I think sometimes people think high school is boring. No, high school can be fun. We have to engage our children just like we do in the elementary. I often tell people high school kids are just bigger kids and bigger bodies.
And us adults are even big kids too, aren't we? Teachers like to have fun too. So I know there have to have been some hard days, and it happens to everybody. It happens to every teacher, every principal, everyone I've ever talked to. We've had those moments. Talk us through how you talked yourself into staying and what came out of your persistence in the face of an insurmountable problem.
I think having the right people on the team is what pushed you through the hard days. I can remember hard days and I'm like, why am I doing this? Not only when you're facing ridicule about a big decision. I think we saw it a lot in the pandemic, a whole lot. People wanted you to have the answers to things that were totally out of your control. And, people looking to you to have all of the answers and you don't have them yourself. So it was a lot of days that I've questioned my ability, making decisions that I have made that have been questioned and not supported, that I just knew this should be a no-brainer. But it's like always, I will get this encouraging text message from a teacher. I will get a message from a student or an alumni would comment on a post on Facebook. I don't believe things happen just coincidentally. I believe they actually happen by purpose, intention of what you need in that moment to let you know the fruits of your labor are not going without being recognized, and someone needs you to keep pushing, and someone needs you to continue to stand for what is right despite how others may feel about it. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you got to be willing to push through those hard days and hard times. But my why, remembering my why. My why is to ensure that every student has the opportunity to excel and grow and develop and leave Fairfield Central High School with options. So that is my why. And I stick with that. I want that to be for my staff as well, that they enjoy and they love what they do here and remember their purpose and their why, that they got into the classroom and got into education. And so on those hard days, you get those encouraging messages, those words, but centering yourself. My why is on my computer. So having those little sticky notes of encouragement and things around you, positive affirmations, I give those to my kids every morning to start their day here. And so that's what pushes you through the hard days, understanding that every day is not going to be sunny, but the rainbow is going to come, the sun will shine again, and the next day is a new day, start over and try again. And so that's what kind of has gotten me through is my staff, my students, my community, my family. It takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to educate a child, but it also takes a village to be a principal.
That wisdom.
That helped me on those days.
So Tracy, travel back in time to Dr. Tracy Swilley, first day of your job, walking into the office, and if you could travel back in time and give her a pep talk, what would you say to her right now?
You got this, girl. I think I would just always encourage her to know that you are built and equipped for everything that you will face. You have a support system. You don't always have to have the answers. Breathe and go do what you love. That's what I would say.
Dr. Swilley, school safety is so much on everyone's mind right now. What do you do to ensure that your students are safe?
Something that I take very seriously is the safety and well-being of all of my students and my staff. That's something we think about every time we hear of an incident on the news. It makes my heart heavy because no one went into education thinking we could possibly be going to war. And that's sometimes what you step into when you have an active shooter type situation. So some of the things that we have done is try to take all of the necessary precautions, and we practice drills with our students so they know what to do in a crisis situation, whether it be a weather situation, whether it be a active shooter intruder situation. So we try to do those regularly to prepare our students on what to do. We have metal detectors here at our school. And that was one thing that it took me a while to embrace as a principal because of the stigmas that can also be associated with a metal detector in your school, as if to say you have problems. But I had to sit back, think, research, and just learn that, look, schools are the hub of communities, meaning things that are happening in a community anywhere can happen in a school. And so you can't just be reactive, you have to be proactive. And so that's the stance that I took in educating our community and educating my students about why they were walking through a metal detector, kind of wanting to hear their voice. So I talked with my students about it. And believe it or not, the students were afraid. although we had no incident here at our school, they felt better with metal detectors. And so did staff. So they walked through metal detectors in the morning. We walked through metal detectors for any games, any events that we have here. We have a clear bag policy here on campus as well, for events, not for the day-to-day school, but for events. And so we have changed the entrance to our school building so that, our school was built back in the early 80s. And so you didn't really have to think about that then. So we had to change our entrance so that the visitors wouldn't have immediate access to your school. They had to go in a waiting area and then be allowed into the school. And so those are the things that we have kind of put in place. And then just educating our students about, if you hear something, see something, say something. We have to educate our young people on snitching is me and you doing the same thing and I go tell on you. But protecting each other from, unnecessary risks or things that could happen that you have heard about is your responsibility. I talk to my adults about hearing something, whether it's the cafeteria ladies, the custodians, the bus drivers, the teachers, making certain that everybody is a part of this process of keeping our students and staff safe. But yes, it is a heavy weight that we bear because I want everyone to go home the same way that they come to my school and secure. And so that is something that we have to deal with, and we just address it. And the goal is to be proactive instead of reactive.
As principals and teachers are listening to you around the country and around the world, could you give them some encouragement on reaching every child?
Oh, yeah. You never know your impact. A lot of times we do what we do and we don't know the outcomes. We don't know what happens. Just remember your why. Remember, always think about when you made that decision to become an educator, your why. You have a why. You have a purpose. You are a part of these students' lives. We make every other profession possible. Without the hands of a good, solid, quality teacher, without a good principal, without any educator that has the ability to impact students' lives, you are essential to their success. So remember, you are equipped with everything you need to be successful. You are trained for this. You are built for this. You are called for this. Go take your power and educate and impact our youth because they are our future.
This has been delightful, Dr. Tracy Swilley, a true leader. I just love, because her love of students is just so evident and letting them want to come to school. Thank you for coming on the show today, Dr. Swilley.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. Watch the video version of this podcast and catch my new radio and TV show, Cool Cat Teacher Talk, on YouTube and a radio or TV station near you. Just search Cool Cat Teacher and hit subscribe. For more tips, ideas, and inspiration, join my Cool Cat Teacher Classroom Matters newsletter at coolcatteacher.com/newsletter. Let's connect at Cool Cat Teacher everywhere on social media, and I'd love to hear from you. Leave a review if you found this helpful. See you later, educator.